the statute that you read, the raison d'etre of that statute, the essence of that statute, or what that statute addresses. And then anything that. May you please be lifting the chairs? It's a bad habit just to pull a chair, yeah? You learn in school, so you need to learn good manners, okay? So, that's how we're going to approach it. Any questions? Any questions? I see no question. Okay, so the way we're going to do it is we'll start from the lady in the cap. What's your name again? Louder. You have a surname, right? So, Chisomo, you will be going like that, yeah? Maximum 2 minutes. Maximum 2 minutes. If you want us to knock off early, that's how we should approach it. Any questions? Okay, so be mindful that I'll also be grading you. Yeah? You remember contribution class is also part of, yeah? Good. So Chisomo, you have the floor. You need to be coming in front. So don't waste time, yeah? If you want to knock off early, the ball is in your court. You have the floor. First, tell us your name and what you do. You also need to.
I'm doing personal property law. So it states that it governs the ownership of how a person can own a property or goods. I should come again. Okay, I'm doing Personal Property Act. It governs how a person owns goods, ownership of something. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Any questions? No questions. What chapter is it in the laws of Malawi?
No.
Don't start with an I. Remember?
Well, it's law 66.
Chapter. Okay, thanks. Sit down. You needed to outline everything.
Okay.
Next. You should be writing your name also there.
Okay.
My name is Jim Hunga. I'm presenting Business Registration Act.
Your name is?
Jim Hunga.
Jim Hunga.
Yeah, presenting on Business Registration Act. Business Registration Act is an act to provide for the registration of persons carrying on business in Malawi and on their business names, the allocation of a single business register number, and for matters connected therewith and identity rates. This provides mandatory on registration on certain documents to protect them from any type of fraud. Yeah. Any questions?
Please, now I'll be the one telling you that you can leave.
Oh, sorry.
So who is the custodian of that act? Like which authority regulates business registrations in Malawi?
Sorry. I have forgotten.
What is the chapter number?
It's chapter 12.
12 what?
05.
Okay.
But it's chapter 12. I'm not sure on 07.
Next. Next, ma'am.
I'm here to present trustees. Trustees. I'll start with the definition of the trustees. Trustees is a person or confirm that holds and administers property or assets for the benefit of a third party. A trustee may be appointed for various purposes, such as in the case of bankruptcy, certain types of retirement plans or pensions, or to manage assets for someone. And then we'll go to the laws of the trustees. A trustee administers a trust based on the instructions left by the grantee. This can include communicating with the beneficiaries, allocating funds to investment, distributing payments according to instructions. Lastly, the types of trustees we have: individuals, independent, and institutional. That's all.
Any questions? No, sit down, don't sit. Any questions? You presented trustees what?
Some trustees.
Trustees what?
Trustees.
So what did you say?
Oh, I'm presenting Trustees Act.
You know, there is a Trustees Act, then there is a Trustees Incorporation Act. So who is a trustee?
A trustee is a person or a firm that holds and administers property or assets for the benefit of a third party.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Welcome.
My name is Ivy Solomon. I'm representing Labor Law Relation Act. This act deals with the right of laborers. It monitors how laborers working in their working places and how they receive their salaries. It also manages the time when a person should be departed on his working place. That's all.
Any questions? What is the name of the act?
Labor Law Relations Act.
What?
Labor Laws Relation Act.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Is that what it says?
It deals with the rights of laborers.
What is the name of the act, of the statute?
Labor Laws Relations Act.
Are you sure? Is that what you read? Okay. It's Labor Relations Act. Okay. Next.
So I'm Yakosa Nguruwe. I'll be presenting on Partnership Act. So I'll start with the definition of partnership. Partnership in business is when two or more parties come together and start a business. So the Partnership Act itself provides laws for the parties in which they're supposed to function under them. That's it.
Any questions? You say?
Chapter 4604.
Good, thanks. Good question. Yeah. Learn to lift the chair, right?
My name is Mpenya Namoyo. I'll be talking about National Construction Industry Act. It states regulations that have been put in place to be followed by constructors, clients, and consultants. The first regulation states that a person should operate within the category in which they have registered the council. The council determines that the person will not accept work or be awarded outside the category of registration. The second regulation involves foreign constructors. It states that foreign constructors and consults should work under the rules that govern foreign constructors. Thirdly, a construct company needs to display important information of the project in an appropriate manner. A person in the construction industry should not operate or accept when their license is expired, revoked, invalid, or has been suspended. The Act also states that clients can engage only with registered contractors in their fields of registration and also transparently. To continue with, a client shall provide to the council relevant information about payments to the constructor for taxation purposes. In the case where the client did not provide this information, the constructor shall provide it to the council. The Act also makes sure that there is no conflict of interest during work. For this reason, an individual employed in the public service shall not be awarded with public contracts which are directly related to be individuals' employment in the public service. A contractor is also supposed to observe the regulations and codes of ethics developed under the Act. This ensures that they comply with other regulations and codes of ethics. The Act also states that an authorized officer has the right to entry in any construction premises. This is to enforce the provisions of the Act without asking for permission from the client or any other person. This officer also has the right to inspect any record or document of the business on behalf of the council. The officer needs to be in possession and provide identity card to anyone who requests it, just to make sure they were sent by the council. Anyone will not hinder the officer from performing his duty. He shall not be hindered from entering the premises and having access to the records or documents required by the officer. Any officer also needs to provide an enforcement notice when there have been a breach of the Act or regulations or code of ethics enforced by the council, just to notify the constructor of the breach. The council has the right to suspend any project that is going against any regulations or the Act. Thank you.
Great, well done. Questions?
Chapter 53 or 5.
Any other question? What do you understand by conflict of interest?
Whereby the
Don't
contract.
start with an R.
Sorry, sir.
Mhm.
Where the contractor and the person, asking him.
What do you understand by the term conflict of interest?
Whereby the constructor and the person who has given the constructor what to do have disagreement.
Where one has an interest in something. So for example, if you are my daughter and I'm teaching you, I have a conflict of interest in you. My grading may not be subjective. You understand? So that's conflict of interest. If I want you to say, to bid, if you know what it means to bid, to tender?
Yes.
So if you bidding, and I'm the one who is going to I'm the one who's going to announce those bids or to make a decision, and then I know that you are my student, that means I have a conflict of interest. So ethically, you're supposed to declare interest. Understood? You're supposed to declare interest. Okay, next.
My name is Kedri Chilambe, representing on Commercial Advertising Act, Blagate Traditional Music Control, Chapter 4807. It is an act that provides the control of recording and production of commercial advertising of Malawian music and dance performed as part of the public celebration.
You heard what your friend said. Thank you
Thank you, sir.
for your attention. You're presenting to your colleagues, yeah? Yes, questions?
Repeat the chapter.
Chapter 4807.
1407.
4807.
What is the chapter about?
Commercial Advertising Act.
What do you understand by commercial advertising?
Be concerned with or to be intended to something.
Commercial advertising. You should read section 2 of that act. It defines commercial advertising. That's the whole idea, yeah? You need to know what commercial advertising is. Clear?
Yeah.
So most of the time, section 2 of any act would provide what we call interpretation or definition section. Section 2. Clear? This is for all of you, yeah? Okay. Next.
My name is Belinda Smile, and I will be representing Companies Act, Chapter 4603. Companies Act was introduced in 2006 to do the following things: to simplify administration, to improve the rights of the shareholders, to update and simplify corporate laws. Thanks for your attention.
Any questions?
Can you repeat it again?
You don't repeat again. Yeah? You repeat. Yes? We are learning, so you need to grow a thick skin, isn't it? You're still students, so you're learning. So if I criticize you, I'm not trying to embarrass you or put you on the spot. I want you to be good students, right? To be good graduates.
Companies Act was introduced in 2006 to do the following things: to simplify administration, to improve the rights of shareholders, to update and simplify corporate law.
Any questions?
Corporate law.
Who are shareholders?
Shareholders, these are people who contribute in the company.
How many types of companies are outlined in the Companies Act?
3
Namely,
preliminary.
Huh?
I'm not sure if that's how they pronounce it.
louder.
Preliminary. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
I forget.
Limited liability company. That's one. Then unlimited liability company. So the Chapters Act deals with limited liability companies. And there are two kinds of limited liability companies, limited by guarantee and limited by shares. We'll deal with this at a later date. I just wanted you to be familiar.
Yes.
Okay, great. Next.
My name is Maureen Moore.
Your name?
Maureen Moore.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be talking about the Malawi Revenue Authority. The Malawi Revenue Authority is an agency of the government responsible for collecting and accounting for tax revenues. The objectives are: it collects imports duty, exports duty, imports exercises, import VAT and trade, and it protects the community from entry and exit of restricted and prohibited goods. Thank you.
What are the two functions of the Malawi Revenue Authority?
Collecting tax, and
Who is the head of the Malawi Revenue Authority? Did you see that in the Act? Did you see something like Commissioner General? Yeah, so you could have, if you went in depth, you could have seen that the Malawi Revenue Authority is also responsible for the collection of excise duty, not just tax, but excise and duty. We'll get into those issues later, the difference between tax, duty, and excise. All right, next. The Commissioner General. If you read the Act, you will see that it provides for that. Start again. We don't start with an hour.
Okay. My name is Christopher Msisia, and I'm here to share the Consumer Protection Act, which is in Chapter 48, verse 10. This act, it gives rights to the customers, it gives rights to the consumers, and also addresses protection to the consumers. And also it has establishes the council, which is known as Consumer Association of Malawi, and also which is also called Consumer Association of Malawi. And for instance, to make this clear, I'll give an example. There was this issue, is it in 2015-16? Water had to mix up with fees. 2019? Yeah. Water had to mix up with fees in area 18. So people who stays in area 18 had to sue for the water board. So they have to sue to the water board, which means they use this act. Yeah. So. Yeah. That's all.
Thank you for your attention. You gotta thank your audience, right?
Okay. Okay, thank you for your attention. Yeah.
What do you mean by suing? Sue.
Sue is enforcing judgment, making sure that reporting to the courts that this company has done this.
Suing is to take somebody to court.
Yeah.
Taking somebody to court
Okay.
in a civil action. Yeah? When I'm asking him, I also want you to learn, right? This is a part of the learning process. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And I want to ask you, what's the difference between Consumer Association of Malawi and the Malawi Bureau of Standards? Do they work together?
So Malawi Bureau of Standards has its own act. It's called Malawi Bureau of Standards Act.
Okay.
Malawi Bureau of Standards, their duty, if you look at the act, is to determine standards. Determine standards to ensure that goods, especially goods, are of the required standard, that they are wholesome, that they are not hazardous to people. So oil, for example, that it has the right combination or right chemistry. Alcohol, that it has the right chemistry, is not dangerous. Very good question. Consumer protection, it protects the consumer from the seller.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Well done. Yeah, next.
Sorry. My name is Tawanda. I'll be reading on the Workers' Compensation Act. It is the section of the Republic of Malawi that determines how to provide compensation for injuries suffered or diseases contracted by workers in the course of their employment or death resulting from each injury or disease. Meaning that when, for example, when someone, let's say they're working in a construction company, they happen to have an injury that prevents them from working again, the construction company has to pay them off. They have to give them money to take care of themselves because they cannot work anymore. Or if they happen to have died, the company will still compensate the family of the person who has died. Secondly, it is for the establishment and administration of a workers' compensation fund so that the compensation is paid periodically. So when paying compensation to an injured person, they do not pay the amount as a lump sum, they give it periodically. So for example, if it's 100,000, they won't pay it out as 100,000 at once. They'll probably give it maybe in tens or in 20s. It is chapter 5503. Thank you.
Of what?
Of the Malawi Compensation Act.
Of what?
Of the it's chapter 3 of the Malawi Compensation Act. Chapter 5503.
Of what?
Of the Constitution.
Of the laws of Malawi.
Of the laws of Malawi.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Clear?
Thank you. Questions? Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Noel Kanka. Here in front of you, I'll be presenting about the Sales of Goods Sales of Goods Act, Chapter 48. So at first, I'll start with the Sales of Goods Act 1979, which it regulates the quality of certain types of goods bought and sold. It brings together previous legislation, Sales of Act, which is in 1893. Which is in 1893, and also many minor statutory amendment and additions have been since 1979. So as for the main section, which is section 48, which is part delivery, where it deals with on unpaid seller who has maybe made part delivery of the goods. They may exercise their right of lien on the remainder for unless such as part deliveries, as I say, has been made under such circumstances as to show an agreement to waive the lien. Thank you.
Any questions?
What is the statutory operation?
Sorry?
What is the statutory operation?
Statutory operations. It's something about the law that
It's a corporation that is created by government, so it's a quasi government entity. For example, the Malawi Bureau of Standards, it's not a private company, it's a quasi, part government, part private. Yeah. So all these cars you see, SC, Water Board, it's a statutory corporation. It's created by an act of parliament. That's why it's called statutory corporation. So it's not a company as such, but it's a company, but created by an act of parliament. Good question. What's the right of lien? You mentioned it, right?
yes, sir. Right of lien is an agreement. It's an agreement. Sir.
So don't just say stuff that you don't understand. Yeah? You could have probed further to say what is the right of lien. So right of lien is if, for example, you take your watch for repairs or you take your car for repairs at a garage, and then you don't pay after the garage owner has already fixed your car. He has a right of lien because he's fixed the car for you. So he has a stake in the car. So that's a right of lien. Understood?
Yes.
So you need to open your eyes, you need to open your horizon to business law. You are studying business law. So you need to open your horizon, okay? This is what you're supposed to know as graduates of business law. So you need to be learning these kind of things. Okay, next.
I'm Mona Singano. I'm representing electronic transaction in cyber security, chapter 7402, commenced on June 2017. The act was for the provision of electronic transaction and for the investigation, correction, and use of electronic evidence. The objectives of this act was to protect the interests of the community and individuals. For example, privacy. Another objective is on protecting the rights of the underage children in the use of information and community technology. To create legal framework of favorable tax policies and promote information and communication technology products and services that originate from within Malawi. Ensure that information and communication technology users are protected from undesirable impacts of information and technology, including the spread of pornographic material and digital fraud. Thank you for your attention.
Repeat the first objective.
Protect the interest of the community and individuals, for example, privacy.
Thank you for your attention. You need to thank your colleagues, yeah?
Thank you for your attention.
When was the act enacted?
June 2017.
Who are the ones who follow this act?
When we talk about electronic transaction, we mean like Mpamba, Airtel Money, yeah, and cyber like Facebook, WhatsApp. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next. Is that all? Are we done?
Yes.
John, you did not attend the first class. No, well, no, Vanda. Did you attend the first class?
I used my, I attended, but then for the names I used my other name.
Which one?
The first is, I used Patrick, now what I use now.
So why are you confusing us? Patrick Nkanka, eh?
Yes, sir.
So why are you trying to confuse us?
My apology.
What's your official name?
No.
Okay, so how do you pronounce this word? Hands up. You remember I told you hands up. I want somebody to take responsibility. Who murmured? Who murmured? Any other suggestion? Again?
Determined.
That's how we pronounce it, okay? Determine. Determine. Not. You see the difference between Zimbabwe and Malawi, huh? Who mentioned this word? Who mentioned this word? Linda. What did you say? Louder. We are learning, right? So don't be shy. How do you pronounce this word? Mr. Msisia? Yeah? Good. We're learning, right? Mona, what's this word? Huh? What's this word? You need to be careful when you're speaking, yeah? Benya, what does the act say? This word or this word?
Yeah.
know. The first one.
So what were you saying? Can you read it?
Contractor.
Did you ever say contractor? For those of us who heard her, what was she saying? You see? Clear? Good. So, Jean, when you're speaking, where is Jean? She left.
Yes.
Uh-huh. When you're speaking, don't hold, when you're addressing people, don't be holding stuff like this, because now people lose attention. They look at you. They look at what you have in your hands. Yeah? Don't hold something. Like in my case, when I'm making a presentation, I would use hands. Yeah, use hands. But also don't overuse the hands. Sometimes you do this. You just use the hands when you are trying to emphasize. You see, this is the art of public speaking. Clear? If I was teaching and I was doing this, what would you think? Yeah. So I'm trying to sharpen you as students so that you, in future, you can also be teachers. So you need to learn how to do these things rightly. That's why I emphasize on public speaking. So don't use, your hands should be as free as possible. If you're using a script, use it tactically. You are being graded for your presentation, right? So don't just stick to the script. Use it tactically, show that you understand. Clear? Chisomo, in a class of peers, sometimes you just take off your hat just for a few minutes and then you wear it again. Because you want to show respect to your colleagues, right? You're presenting and you're being graded. So just take it off. You make a presentation, because if you put your hat, that means you're hiding your face. But you're also showing disrespect to your colleagues. Clear? Yakosa, same what is Yakosa? Yakosa, yeah? Nguruwe. Same, you're holding a pencil. Yeah, you made a very good presentation, but yeah, it shows that you're nervous. You're not comfortable. Ivy, when you speak English, you need to speak English. Don't speak English in Chichewa. Clear? Speak English. I know. I had a friend back in the day in college. So she came from Zimbabwe like you. So she was trying to speak Chichewa in English. So this other day, at Chancellor College, the guys who were cleaning our rooms, we called them Malume. So she wanted to show, trying to show off that she's a Zimbabwean, she doesn't know Chichewa. So she was talking to a god, Mulonda. She said, Mulo, Alendo. He said, no, it's not Alendo, it's a Mulonda. Now the Malu, the guy who cleans, said, Malemu is late. He's a Mulonda. So speak English. Try. I mean, it's not easy, but try to speak it properly. Yeah? Deliver. In that way, it sounds professional. Gertrude. What is Gertrude? You need to show courtesy to your colleagues. Yeah? Start. Okay, my name is. Your name, you don't have to stick to your script. You can say your name off the cuff. Yeah? Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Gertrude Chilambe. My name is Gertrude Chilambe. I would like to present on the Consumer Protection Act, which is chapter number 5501 of the Laws of Malawi. I have 3 points. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. Colleagues, I thank you so much for your attention, and I'll be happy to take questions. Easy. Courtesy. You see the courtesy? So what I'm trying to tell you now, because we'll be having a lot of presentations in class, I want you to be improving by the day. So issue of courtesy, yeah. Tulinde, what you told us was just basic. You need to show that. I think you may just have looked at it maybe for 5 minutes. You needed to read the act and understand, like the way Msisia did, or the way Takutswada did, showing that they understand. Yeah? You remember he was connecting with what happened in area 18. Yeah, so the idea is to show that you understand. Now, when you have a script, don't stick to the script. Like I said, show that you understand what you're talking about. Yeah? You look at it, but try to deliver. Deliver is key. Public speaking, you are being graded. Understood? Now, a chapter, say chapter 4401, that's how we pronounce it, yeah? Chapter 4401. In short, you just write cap. It means chapter 4401. So if you open a chapter, you see that it's divided into sections. Short form for section is like this. Short form section will just put S dot. Section 4. You see that the section 4 is divided into a subsection. So we call this subsection. Subsection is further divided into paragraphs. Paragraph A or paragraph B. Are we together? Chapter 4401 of the laws of Malawi. Section 2, subsection 1, paragraph A. Understood? You are trying to learn law, so you need to know how lawyers do it. Any questions? Any questions this one? Lorraine, who presented well in your case? Who do you think gave a good presentation? I want to see if my grading is in line with you guys. Who's that? Takuza. Good. Takuza, who do you think presented impressively? Don't start with an Okay. Good. Penya, who do you think presented well? Myself. Constructor. Who else apart from yourself? Yakosa, who do you think presented well? Christoph, who do you think presented well?
This guy.
Okay. So let me just, for purposes of this exercise, I will tell you the grades. Yeah, I'll tell you the grades so that you know where you need to pull up your socks.
Yeah.
Correct? So we have, I was grading out of 10. So Takudzwa has an 8 out of 10. Patrick has a 6 out of 10. Mpenya has an 8 out of 10. Rorin has a 6 out of 10. Tulinde has a 6 out of 10. Gertrude has a 5 out of 10. Mona has a 7 out of 10. Where is Mona? Yeah, you have a 7 out of 10. Ivy, you have a 5 out of 10. Linda, you have a 6 out of 10. Yakosa, you have an 8 out of 10. Jean had a 5 out of 10. Kisomo, you have a 5 out of 10. Christopher, you have a 6 out of 10. Yeah. So you were a bit disadvantaged because you were the first ones. You were a bit disadvantaged, but I could have adjusted if you were very basic. So I considered that. I could have adjusted your grade because I put that as a basic, and then if your friends were making the same mistakes, so they didn't really learn much from you. So that's the grading. Who thinks I fairly graded them? Precious, you think I did grade you properly? Yeah? Who think the grading was not fair? Yeah, why? Argue.
I feel like most of us were supposed to get lower than 5.
Getting what?
I feel like you were soft on answers, and most of us were supposed to get less than half.
Less than half? Most of you? Okay, so you think I was fair? I was generous? Yeah, so that's, yeah, you're right. But like I said, it's the beginning. Well done. I like that point. I like that point. So let's try as much as possible to cut down on the I think most of us, almost everybody, made that mistake. I liked, was it that? I think it was you who came and said, well, that was good. I think Mr. Msisi also did the same. Well, yeah, try to avoid the R's. But I can tell that you're going to be very good public speakers. I can tell that at least now you know issues relating to business law. Next week, I think we'll have 2 classes. Usually we have to meet on Wednesdays, yeah, from 8 to 10. But because the other week I'll also be away, I would want to cover stuff for the other week, next week. So we may have another class. I don't know what time. I'll wait for you to tell me or the dean to tell me when we can meet. But when we meet, we'll discuss that script that I sent you on the law of contract. So that law of contract, and we may also look at company law. I'm sure I gave you in advance, so we should be able to finish law of contract next week. Any questions? So what you need to do, I'll try to give you reading materials in advance. What I would want is for you to read in advance before you come to class, so that you can be posing questions and also you learn better. Linda, is it a problem just to prepare for class? No. Key is to prepare for class and show that you understand. Yeah? Yes. Good. Do you know where your other friends are? Edwin, Patience?
So Patience is not available. She was in Salimisha, the car picked up.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
okay. What's your name?
I'm Nigel Sinclair Consultant.
Who's that?
Nigel Sinclair Consultant.
But you didn't make a presentation, right?
I wasn't here with the presentation.
So how do I grade you? And what's your name?
Nigel.
You're also from Zimbabwe?
Yeah, sure.
Nigel Masokatere?
Sure.
Sokotere. Okay, I need to grade you. Just tell us what you learned from any of your colleagues. Otherwise, you miss out on the grade.
Okay.
You gotta stand up, my friend.
Well, I heard that in Malawi there's
Hi class. Well, I'm Nigel Matsokote. From the presentation that were done, I heard that
Exactly what I was talking about.
from the presentation that were done, I heard that in Malawi there are a variety of chapters that guides in the business sector. Let's say, for instance, there are laws that guides the person in the business. Let's say people want to invest in something. Let's say a company. A company must go through some procedures whereby they are supposed to sign certain documents that will help them the flow of the company. These documents these documents will help the company. These documents will help the company throughout their journey of investment. I'm not so sure about the chapters. I haven't read so much about them.
What does the Consumer Protection Act say?
The Consumer Protection Act talks about the consumer, the one who's going to purchase a certain good. That certain good is supposed to meet the certain standards. Let's say if someone wants to call a baker, for instance, a baker, if a baker is producing bread, they must go through this Consumer Act. Their bread is supposed to meet the certain requirements and standards that are supposed to be.
What does the Labor Relations Act provide for?
A Labor Relation Act, right? A Labor Relation Act talks about employees, the employees. Let's say mine workers. When a worker is working in mine, there are certain things that can happen to a worker, especially this manual workers.
What about Companies Act?
The Companies Act deals up with accrediting companies or signing up of companies.
All right, no, thanks. Okay, who's gonna grade our friend?
Thank you so much.
I already have a grade for him. How will you grade him? 7? Pena? Christopher?
6.
I'll give him a 5. I'll give him a 5 because in any event, he could have benefited from what we said, right? See the first thing he was doing. Do you have long nails?
No.
Oh, you were touching you see? You turn, You could have been the best because you took advantage of all the remarks. You get a point?
Yeah, sure.
You did well, at least you are a good speaker, but show that you know. Yeah. Okay, any other questions that you want me to? Any other question that you? So, what you need to do is, like I said, yeah, what do you? No, that way. So in case you're not able to come to class, tell your class president that you're not gonna come, so that at least have an idea for you to be able to catch up. But also it is the onus on you, it is incumbent on you to be able to catch up. Because I'm very concerned with you guys because your parents are paying school fees, yeah? You're in a private university, so you don't have to waste your parents' money. But also you be the ambassadors of this university, so you need to be sharp. Because we're in competition as universities, right? So you need to be sharp. So please make sure you catch up. Make sure you read them in advance. In case you're not able to come to school, you can send me a message, but also tell your class president so that I know who's not going to come. Scariest, right? Okay, no, thanks so much. So we meet on Wednesday. After my class, do you have another class on Wednesday in the morning? Yeah? You didn't sign? But why? Didn't you come in front? You also didn't. You remember when I was asking, are we done? Are we done? You guys need to check out, right? So why, if you attended class, why didn't you sign? The idea, you signed this in each and every class, right? So this is supposed to be automatic. Okay. So your friends now will tell you what to do. Unless you don't want to be graded. You don't want to be graded?